So the topic of today's workshop is perfect pitch. My name is Magdalena Balcerzak. As Konrad said, I'm the manager of CEE Business Angels Network and Vestbee, which is a platform where we connect startups from Central and Eastern Europe with international investors. And today we will learn how to pitch your idea to investors. First of all, you should be aware that there are different types of pitches that you will use in different situations. We distinguish three main types of pitches. First of all, elevator pitch, which is a very short presentation, around 30-60 minutes when you say it, and one slide if you present it and send it via email, for example, and you use it in a day-to-day situation. So you can imagine that you just meet a potential investor in an elevator, and it's important to present the business then in a way that investor gets interested, that you spark an interest, and that you ensure a follow-up. So it's very important to have that prepared, because usually in such situations when we are not prepared, we just start saying anything. It's complicated, it's messy, and it just doesn't make any result. So when you have that prepared, you will be able to say it anytime you meet potential investor, spark an interest, give your business card, and ensure that there will be a follow-up, a call, or a meeting where you can say more about the business. Then we have competition pitch that you usually use during the demo days, during competitions, when you pitch on the stage and present your business idea to the jury, to the audience. And here the goal is to charm the audience, to win the competition. So it can be a little bit unusual, surprising, with some more stories around the potential customer, for example, to make this presentation very interesting and to stand out from other startups pitching at the competition. It usually takes 3-5 minutes to present it, 10-12 slides. So the data intensity is also not that high. You will still have time to say more information about the business if you do this pitch well and ensure a follow-up. And then we have investor deck, which is already much more data intensive. It takes around 10-20 minutes to say it, and you can have even 15 to 25 slides. This pitch is usually used after the meetings, after the competition pitch, for example, after meeting at the conference. So that will be a data-intensive summary of your business, already containing a lot of information that investors need to evaluate your business. And here you already want to present your business with more information to ensure fundraising, to ensure the next levels of the fundraising process. And there are some good practices to remember when you prepare your pitches. First of all, it's important to have two separate decks for competition pitch and for investor decks. So please don't do these mistakes. These documents are totally different. You can start with investor deck because it's the most data intensive. So here you can think about all the topics that are important for investors and present them in a nice comprehensive way. And then when you will be preparing other documents, you will be just deleting some information that is not necessary for this document and changing the sentences into bullet points. So the competition pitch should be the presentation that helps you present. There should be no sentences, and there should be rather points that help you do the presentation and help you speak and say the story. In the investor deck, there should be sentences, so the document is stand-alone document that investor can read and understand everything without your presentation. So these are, as you can see, totally different documents. It's very important to have two separate documents for different needs that you will have. Remember to update the documents from time to time, because it's also very easy to see, for example, based on the traction, based on the timeline, that you just refer to dates that are outdated, right? So 3 months is a period when we say that usually it's good enough to make an updated and nice presentation. It's important to send PDF files. That's just professional, and it will make a good impression on investors. Or rather, it will make a bad impression if you send editable files to investors. And remember always, when you prepare different documents, what is your goal? That's the most important thing. So first of all, you should spark an interest, you should ensure a follow-up, and remember that there is always a space to ask questions and to say something more. If you do this presentation well, you will still have time to add other information in the right time. Today we will focus on the investor deck and the competition pitch, some comparison, how to do them together and correctly. About elevator pitch, we won't have time to do that today, but I will also at the end give you some insight where you can find out information to prepare an elevator pitch as well. So let's start. I will give you a basic structure that you can use to have the competition pitch and the investor deck easy to follow. It's important not to lose the audience, the interest from the audience at every stage, because if anyone will get lost, it will be hard for them to get back and understand everything that you want to say. So keeping a good structure will help you make the audience understand what you are talking about and not lose the attention. First of all, we start with an introduction. It should be a very short sentence that you will use. In the investor deck, that should be a standalone slide with 1 or 2 sentences written so that investors can get the first insight what this presentation will be about. And during the competition pitch, it can be just a slide with your logo or maybe some photograph, something very simple that will let you speak and not make the audience read what you've written on the slide, right? So that's how it could look in the case of Vestbee. And at the slide, when I would be pitching about Vestbee, I could just say, hi, my name is Magdalena Balcerzak. I'm the manager at Vestbee, platform connecting global investors with startups and scale-ups from Central and Eastern Europe. One clear sentence that already gives the audience the idea what this whole pitch will be about, in which sector will we operate, etc., to already start listening to you more actively. And then when we already presented the introduction, we go to the problem. That's the first point that will also help your audience understand the whole situation. And remember that presenting the problem is very important, because then the investors, the audience, will really start to feel the pain that you are trying to solve. And it's important because you can do various technologies, you can do various products, but if there is no need for that, it still won't work as a great business. So understanding the problem is crucial for having the attention and the willingness from the investors to listen to your pitch with attention, with interest later on. So while presenting the problem, you should first present who has the problem, what goal does this person or company want to achieve, and why do they struggle with that at the moment. And then, when we already know what is the problem, you should present the solution, addressing the points that you mentioned. So addressing the person, the goal, and the problem that you mentioned before. And to give you a feeling how that could work, I will again come to the example of Vestbee. So while presenting Vestbee, I would say that startups struggle with closing rounds, investment rounds, quickly and without big expenses, because they have to look for investors on the internet, do a lot of research on that. They have to spend money on attending conferences, attending startup events, and that just takes too much time from the founders to do that when they should focus on doing the business. On Vestbee, we give them a simple solution where they can find many investors in one place. So it's quick and easy for them to present their business idea in one place for all these investors. And what is more, the platform is free of charge, so it doesn't take any expenses from the business. So that's the simple presentation, how you can present your own business, your own customers' problems and the solution, giving the person what do they want to achieve, why do they struggle right now, and how do you make it easier, quicker, cheaper, just addressing the problem that you mentioned. And then we can go to some more details about the product. Remember not to give too many features because you should focus on the features that address the problem that you mentioned. So again, everything should be comprehensive. And if you mention that the problem is A and B, you should present the features that solve this problem A and the problem B. Try not to use too many technical words. It's mostly important when you do the presentation to many different investors. For example, at the event, at the demo day, where you can have investors from different sectors. So try to do it as simple as possible. I always say to do the grandma pitch. So then you are sure that if your grandma would understand what you are talking about, investors will understand for sure. So try to keep it simple, not to lose the attention from the audience. And then we can go to some more details about the whole business environment. So first of all, that will be market. Remember that the numbers are not enough. Just the numbers are not enough. We should always present what regions do you talk about. So if you focus on your own country, for example, at the beginning, or then you want to expand to the whole continent or go to the USA, what is the market, the region that you present? What is the size of this market, and what dynamics there are, so that investors can also think about the growth possibilities of this market. And you can present it with some simple charts. The three most important numbers that you should give when you talk about the market are total addressable market, segmented addressable market, and share of the market. And give you a feeling what these numbers, these names address. For example, if you are doing some solution for motorcycles, the total addressable market would be the whole automotive market. Segmented addressable market will be the motorcycles market within the automotive market. And the share of the market will be the part of the motorcycle market that you can realistically obtain. So that's how you should look at the market. And during the competition pitch, it's enough if you just show the slide and say that the whole market is X, and that it's growing dynamically with some dynamics, for example. Not to spend too much time on it, but during in the investor deck, you can already present some more information. It's also nice to include a source so that investors can see that you didn't figure out these numbers yourselves, that you did the right research, and that these numbers are reliable. After the market, we should also present the competition. And here, the most important thing to remember, please remember, never say that you have no competition. That's something that investors are allergic to. It just sounds like you didn't do the homework, that you didn't check the market well enough. Remember that even if you are doing something totally innovative, something brand new that doesn't exist on the market yet, your target group is still solving this problem that they have in another way at the moment. So even if your competition is an Excel sheet or a piece of paper and a pen, that's only good for you, that you have that big competitive advantage. But you still should present that as your indirect competition to show how your target audience is solving the problem at the moment. That's the perspective how you should look at the question about the competition. And here again, remember that names are not enough, that you should also present some differentiators, and don't focus only on the features, because you can have a big competition advantage, for example, in a great team that are key technologists in this area, or have some great experience in sales in this market. That can also be a huge competitive advantage, or another marketing strategy, another way of addressing your target market. That all can be a competitive advantage that will make you win and not the others. And to present it in the competition pitch, it's enough if you just show two most important traits, some two more important criteria, and put different logos, with your logo at the best position, of course, to present why regarding these two components your solution is better. And in the investor deck, you can present some more information, some more criteria, also more competitors, and again show how do you differentiate from another companies in this perspective. And I put the empty place in the column your startup and criteria for row on purpose. I left it empty on purpose because it's not a mistake to show that you don't cover some topic, but it's important to explain why. So maybe the case is that the competitors do this product in too complicated way, that they add too many components that nobody uses. Then it's good if you don't do it the same way and you make your product simpler. Or maybe you want to add this feature with investment. That's all good and will just give investors the possibility to understand the whole story behind your business. So for sure, especially if you have time for that and in the investor deck you have, you can present the whole story behind the business, also regarding the competition. Market opportunity. That will be another topic to cover. During the competition pitch, probably you won't have time for that, because here you have to be quick, short, to the point, and just spark the interest. But in the investor deck, that will be a very important topic. That's basically answering the question, why now? And there are different components of this question, mostly regarding the business environment, the barriers on the market, how crowded is the market at the moment, why nobody did that before, these kind of questions. So investors can understand some more about the business environment. After that, we have a go-to-market strategy. So that will be your marketing strategy, your sales strategy. How will you get to your first users? And especially with early stage startups that are before the market entry, you should focus here on getting the first customer, because that's the most tricky part, the most difficult part. Usually when you already have the scale, it's easier to roll that. But to get the first clients, it's always difficult. So present to the investors what will be your strategy of getting the first users, the first clients. And when you think about your go-to-market strategy, think about the lifestyle, about the habits of your target group. how will they want to use your solution, when will they want to use that solution, where maybe also, and then try to address the best strategy to their habits. So you just don't fight for them, so that it's natural for them that they will start using this solution. And include here, of course, the distribution channels, the marketing tools to get the customers. And here I wanted to show you some nice picture. That's, of course, marketing strategy from some well-known company that we all probably know. What I wanted to show you here is that with marketing, you can also be innovative. Of course, you don't have to do the same. I just wanted to show you that there are so many ways to approach your target clients, and especially now there are many new ways which corporates, for example, not always use, and you can be innovative in this area as well. So again, think about the habits and lifestyle of your target audience, and maybe you will figure out something totally new to approach this target audience, and that can be your great competitive advantage as well. Business model. That will be another very important thing for investors when they evaluate your business. So that will be answering the question, who pays for what, how much, and in what form. So you should present if there are different segments of the customers, if you have various pricings, if there will be a flat fee or maybe a referral fee or a subscription. You should just present how will you make money on that business, and that's important to underline who is using the solution, the product, and who is paying for that, because that's not always the same. And in such cases, in many times, startups presented in the way that it's not that very clear who pays and who uses. So make sure that you present it in your pitch in the clear way so that investors can fully understand this strategy. Then we go to the traction and to the milestones. That's for sure very important to show what have you already done and how do you plan to grow in the near future. As to the traction, of course, the most interesting data for investors would be if you already have some sales, some numbers to present in terms of clients, customers. But remember that if you don't have that yet, if you are before the market entry, you still can have some traction. Think about any proof from your potential users, partners, from your potential investors, mentors, that your business is good, that somebody trusted in it. So even winning a startup competition can be attraction. Having some media coverage, attending a startup acceleration program, that's already attraction because somebody selected you and the others not. There was some selection process and you passed that. So that's already a proof that somebody believed in this business. And from the customer's perspective, for example, if you do a B2C solution, even likes on Facebook can be attraction. So any proof that you check the market and that you already do something with your target audience. For example, some interviews with potential users that gave you feedback that this solution will be matching the needs. That's also attraction. And it's always better to present that than saying we don't have any traction. So especially if you are before the market entry, try to look at everything that you have done so far in a very broad perspective and look for the proofs from potential users, from potential investors that this business is good. And as to the milestones, you can also address the investment that you want to get with presenting the milestones. So, for example, the first milestone on the timeline can be closing an investment round. And then the other milestones should go in line with the investment that you want to get, to present also in this way how will you grow with the investment. So that will also give a feeling for investors, where will you get with their money. Financial projections. That's a point where many startups struggle when they get to this point. So that's also very important to discuss this in a few minutes. First of all, take the bottom-up approach. So think about the milestones that you presented. What will you need to get to these milestones? And do some market research. How much does it cost? So that will already help you have some assumptions from the cost perspective, right? So if you know that you want to grow your product a lot during the next 2 years, for example, then you know that you will need, for example, 3 new IT representatives in your team. You can do some research. How much does it cost? What are the laws in this area, and then you can already make some assumptions from the HR perspective, for example, or you can think about the marketing strategies that you think to use, about the sales strategies that you think to use. Do some research, how much using such marketing tools, for example, will cost, and again, have some assumptions. So with the bottom-up approach, when you think about step by step about the whole business, you will have some better feeling, and with the research, you can make some good assumptions. And then with having your marketing strategies, with having your strategies about the partners that you want to have, etc., you can also have some projections from the profit perspective and present that to investors. It's also important to have some assumptions so that investors know that you didn't figure out these numbers just like that, that you really did the research, did the good homework, and calculated everything with care. So have the Excel file prepared. Of course, you don't have to, and you shouldn't attach it already to the investor deck, but have it ready if somebody asks to verify the numbers. That will be very professional if you can right away send the document ready, so investors know that you are prepared and that these numbers are reliable. And during the competition pitch, you can just present simple charts, presenting what will be your projections for the next 3 years. More, nobody will expect from that at early stage. So you can just think about the next 3 years and show how will you grow your business in this time. And for investor deck, you can also add some more descriptions, and again, as I said, have the Excel file ready to present more information if you will be asked for that. Then we go to the fundraising. So the investment that you need at the moment. You should also present the equity that you want to give for this investment, and accomplishments. What will you accomplish with this investment? So you can present that, for example, in such a chart where you can present that you will use this part for the marketing, this part for HR, this part for R&D, for example, and that will be enough for the competition pitch. For the investor deck, you can add some more description again to let investors get more information. And then the team. Here, one comment, if your team is really exceptional with super first-tier experts in their area of expertise, you can use the team slide at the very beginning. We also see that so many times, and that also works. But if you add the team slides at the very end, when we already get the whole understanding of the business, what is your strategy to grow, what will be your marketing, your sales strategy, or how you build your tools, etc., then you can have better understanding when you present the team if this team is really good to do this particular business. So you can also do that at the end of the presentation. Present the people, present their experience. That's very important because that's basically where you show that you are the right people behind the business to do that, to succeed. You can also introduce the mentors, the advisors. So people who support you with this business, it's also important. They are also on board and help this business grow. And you can recognize the hosts to present how many new sales, IT, marketing, etc. representatives will you need for your team, and maybe that you will accomplish that with investment, for example. And at the end, you should leave the contact slide, especially during the competition pitch. That's usually the slide that will be left during the questions and answers session. So this way, you can ensure that everyone will have time to make a photo, to remember about this business, have your contact, and be able to get in touch with you. With Investors Deck, it's also very good practice because then investors won't have to look for this information. If they go to this moment, it means that they can be interested. They already find out a lot about the business, and with the contact slide, they will just have an easy way to approach you and ask some questions. So that will be it as to the structure. And here, maybe I will ask if you have some questions. So that will be the right moment to do that. If not, then I will.
Because there was one question from Sebastian. It was regarding the having or not customers and importance of having the customers. So he was asking, how can he tell that they already have customers?
At the traction slide, right? So here, the best would be if you do some research about the KPIs. That will be the best way because there are various indicators that show how your business is growing. So if you already have a traction, it's nice to show how this traction is changing also. So how this customer numbers is changing. So for example, you can show I don't know how long your business is on the market, right? But if, for example, for 2 years, you can show that after the first year we had X customers, and now after another year we had Y customers. So this way you can show how it's growing. If the business is shorter on the market, you can present it month by month, for example. That can be some chart, that can be some graphic as to the simple number of the customers. But you should also check, especially if you are doing a SaaS product, you should check on the internet. There are many materials about the KPIs, what KPIs to follow about your business. And these numbers will be very important for investors to get a very well understanding of how your business is growing, where you can show the lifetime value of your customers, the acquisition cost. So that is important. And this way you present the whole information about the customers, and you can show how this business is growing and present this traction this way. Are there some more questions?
We have a question from Tina. She is asking if you are going to share the template after the presentation because she finds it very useful.
Yes, actually, we can send the presentation to the attendees. I hope, Tina, that you are at the that you registered at the forum, so we have your email address. If not, you can still do that, so we can send the presentation to the attendees. But actually, I also wanted to tell you that if you find this interesting, if you want to find out more, you can also download our free ebook on perfect pitching from Vestbee website, and there you will have this structure with also many comments, with some quotes from our partners, from investors, and so you can find out more. You can practice. You can also find out information about the elevator pitch, how to prepare that. So I think that will be very useful, and you will find there still much more information, because that's just short, brief summary, but there's much more to learn how to do the pitch in the perfect way so that it's easy to follow.
Mm-hmm. And one more question. So Sebastian is asking if you have any tips to how to practice the presentation, like the video capture, test audience. Would you recommend to a pre-recording and eventually sending someone a link to that video to evaluate, I believe?
That's a very good question. I think live practice is always best, because you act differently if you speak only with yourself, with the recording on, when you know that you can always stop, delete, and do it once more if you did some mistake. That's not a good practice, actually. When you will be pitching live, there will be no possibility to do that. So if you are preparing for a competition pitch, for some demo day pitching on the stage, I think it's best to speak as many times as possible to people. You can invite your friends, your family, your teammates, do different batches, for example, right? One with the family, for example, one with friends, one with the team, to have the possibility to do that many times, and to have live ongoing feedback. What do they think? Of course, you can also do the recording, but I think the speaking live to people is a little bit different practice. So it's good first to learn the presentation as well as possible, so you know what you want to say, and then practice with your own computer peacefully in your home, for example. But then also speak out loud. It's important you always construct the sentences in another way if you do that only in your mind. If you will be speaking out loud, you will really see if that's too quickly or too slow, or maybe that you got lost at some point. It will be much better practice. And then when you already practiced with yourself, then invite different people and try to pitch in front of them. I think that will be the best practice. If you are preparing for an online pitching, like now I am presenting online to you, you can do such meetings online, so that you have a good practice of how will that really be when you will be pitching to investors. Do we have some more questions?
Right now, no, but thank you.
Okay, so if there will be some more questions, please ask. I will go to the next slides in the meantime. So after the workshops, I encourage you to apply to our CEE Startup Challenge. The deadline is the next Monday, so that's May 31st. And because there you will be asked to fill in the profile on Vestbee, which can actually serve you as a great investor deck. We already prepared a structure there with all the questions that will lead you through the process. And if you just fill in the profile, you actually prepare a great investor deck that you will be also able to reuse after the competition and to send it to investors, to publish it on the platform, for example, to invite investors to see it. And you can always use that as your investor deck. So that will be for sure a very good practice for you to prepare this document. And then when you will be preparing the competition pitch, you will already have some idea, some feeling about how this investor deck looks like, and then select the information that you want to put in the competition pitch. And you already, I already said that because you asked that in the question, but maybe once again, on the Vestbee website, you can find the ebook Perfect Pitch to download. It's free of charge, so you can find out more about the topics that we discussed. You can also find the tips how to prepare the elevator pitch. So I encourage you to do that. And with the elevator pitch, even if you are not preparing to any pitching at the moment, please do that. Please prepare the elevator pitch. You never know where and when will you find some opportunity. And then it's good to be prepared. So that's homework for everyone for sure, to do the elevator pitch. And with other pitches, you can just come back to this in the right moment when you will be preparing these documents. At the end, I also have a few tips for you on the pitching. That's mostly for offline pitching, but I hope you can use that quite soon as well. For online pitching, some of them can be useful as well. First of all, don't read the slides, and preparing a very good competition pitch will help you to do that. If you don't have sentences on your competition pitch, you just have nothing to read. You just have points that remind you what do you want to say, and that's the best practice, because then you are just natural and it's easier for the audience to follow. If you read, it's really easy to get bored. We just, as people, we just feel difference, and then it's not that natural, and it's easy to lose the attention from the audience. So just trust yourself. Trust that if you have good points, you will be able to tell the story, and have the presentation prepared in the way that you always remember what did you want to say in this moment. But then don't read the slides and don't learn the presentation by heart. Trust that you will be able to say everything about your business if you have well-prepared presentation with right bullet points. That will help you to do that for sure. Be excited, because if you are not excited about your business, then how can you make someone else excited, right? And then also remember to keep an eye contact with the audience. And with offline pitching, there is a nice trick that I wanted to give you. If you look from time to time at the very last row of the audience, at the very first row of the audience, the very right row and the very right column and the left column, you will make everyone in the audience feel like you are talking exactly to them. So then it's just because your eyes go in all the directions, and then everyone will feel engaged, nobody will feel excluded, and everyone will then be more excited, and will keep you will just keep their attention for the whole presentation. So I hope that it will help you as well when you will finally pitch offline. So sometime, I hope quite soon. And with the online presentations, it's a little bit harder to remember that the camera is not on your screen, but a little bit upper or a little bit lower, depending where you have it. So it's also nice to remind yourself about that from time to time, and to look at the camera and not at your screen. That's a little bit tricky. That's something that we have to practice, but that's also helping to make people feel that you have the eye contact and that you are speaking to themselves. If there are no more questions, then this is everything that I prepared. Thank you very much.